think it's a really good idea for North Carolina to offer tax incentives to film companies. There are lots of places that the film industry could choose for sets of movies and TV productions. North Carolina has a lot to offer, but I also think that it's important, since other states are offering tax incentives, that North Carolina do so as well. Otherwise, they may lose out on some really big projects.
Up to this point, I would say we have definitely gained money from the movie industry, and the whole town in general has gotten a lot more attention, which just snowballs it. People are eating at restaurants, staying at motels, and different places. What'll be interesting is to see, now that the incentives have faded and they won't be here, to see how much less we, possibly make, and it's hard to gauge.
Depending on the production, I mean, motion pictures and television are different, but for example, with Under the Dome, they'll have anywhere from 75 to 100 people on set for each location. Sometimes they'll have 3 locations going on, and then they'll have maybe 150, 160 people on these sets and getting them prepped for the next shots and such like that. So it can really, it's quite a few, and probably 20% or more are actually local. They hire the local police and stuff like that for security, and other contractors for different needs that they may have. Not to mention the renting of the facilities and permits that they have to take out, and the rental of the homes or churches and stuff they use in the productions.
But I'm pretty sure that everybody will directly feel a little bit of a crunch because of the lack of, people coming, people filming, and people staying, and then tourists visiting. So.
Unfortunately, if North Carolina doesn't renew the tax incentives, I think we're going to lose some of the film business in the state. I know a couple of productions have already planned to relocate to other states. I think Banshee and perhaps Sleepy Hollow have said that they are not coming back because of the loss of the film incentives. I also think that the coastline, for example, of the East Coast looks very similar over a large portion of the coast, and to filmmakers, maybe it doesn't matter as much whether a movie is filmed in North Carolina or Georgia, which Georgia does offer huge film incentives. So I believe it could result in a huge loss of business in that particular industry.
We have over 4,000 employees between Hanover and Brunswick County that work in the film industry, and we've gotten to know quite a few of them. They're our neighbors and stuff. Some of them are actually, they'll spend a week or however long, and they keep their families here, but a lot of them are relocating and leaving the state to follow the work, because that's their passion and that's what they do.
Unfortunately, I think it's difficult for people involved in the film industry, especially if they're rooted in a particular state like North Carolina. If they're losing business, they may have to relocate to another state to seek out work in the industry that they've been employed in for years. I guess another alternative would be if they had to relocate temporarily into a different place, maybe live in an apartment or live with some of the other crew members while they were working on a certain production. But that's a tough decision, to leave your family behind while you're trying to provide for your family.
And then the negative aspect is now that I believe it was Pat McCrory that has not renewed the incentives for the movie industry to stay in the state. So therefore, now they have one of the biggest studios on the East Coast in Georgia, I believe. And all of these people are starting to move to Georgia, and they used to call it Wilmywood, where Wilmington was one of the biggest spots, and that's going to fade. And you'll see less, tourism and stuff from the movie industry moving away from here.
Sure, we really like showing people our wonderful community that we have here. It's a gorgeous location, and North Carolina is a wonderful spot to be. We love having the tourists here. It's our town depends on them.
I like it. It does well for our business. I think it's cool having, famous actors around and, running into, I've already seen a fair amount of different famous people just from them being in this area, which I don't think anybody would argue is pretty cool.
People are involved in the production. I really believe the loss of film incentives will impact a large amount of people in our state.